people were losing their minds because people were playing a video game, and that, look, if they want to do that, that's fine, that's up to them. But you can get your point across without going around bullying people. But the problem is that that's exactly what happened. They went around bullying people, and if when you go around bullying people to get your point across, you're already fighting a losing battle, because there's a way to do things and there's a way not to do things. And if you're going around bullying streamers, their viewers, all that stuff, you're not setting your mission up for success, right? So we only had a few, like, probably I could count them on like fucking one hand, of like, at least from what I could see anyway. My mods have been fast and with attention looking at this stuff anyway, so I generally don't see it. But there has been the odd comment here and there, particularly when we first started playing it like 2 weeks ago. But just because you're playing a video game, it doesn't mean that you are a transphobe. As simple as that. If people want to believe that about you because X, Y, and Z, they can think about it all the way they want. The thing is that I know that I'm not a transphobe, so that's the most important thing. I have trans friends. I love my trans friends. I do support equality and such. That's all I need to know. If people say, oh, you are because you play a video game, then I just tell them go fuck themselves, and then we all move on. So if they, and if I lose a follower or a few followers because of that, they weren't true followers in the first place. If people are going to lose their minds because you play a video game, there's other more important things in the world to worry about than people playing video games. There's so many games out there that have divisive backgrounds behind them that people just aren't aware of, and so there's probably games that you've played in the past, or movies you've watched, or books you've read, or other activities you may have done in your life, that there was some sort of controversy at somewhere about it, which you may or may not know about. So does that make you a bad person for having once viewed or played or read or whatever something that you weren't aware of? Or even if you were aware of it, like, does that make you a bad person because you wanted to read something or use your own time to play something or whatever? Like, it's your money, you can use it how you want. So there was someone who came into my stream there on, I think it was Sunday, and they really wanted to play the game. They bought the game, they wanted to play the game, but they were afraid what their local community would say about them if they found out they played the game. And I said, just play the fucking game. It's like, you don't have to like explain yourself to anybody, it's your money, you spent it, you like the world, it's wizards and witches, just go and play it. Who gives a shit what they think? Because I told that person, the moment you allow them to stop you from doing something, you've already lost your power. So when you show someone that they can take your power away that easily, what do you think they're going to do next? They're going to see what else they can do to lower you, to make you feel like less of a person, make you feel weaker, and they can just keep taking everything on and make you then effectively their bitch. But that doesn't happen to me, and that shouldn't happen to most people, because if you want to play a video game, play the fucking video game. All right, there's lots of video games that are created out of crunch, out of people's misery, out of bad work conditions, companies having sexual harassment lawsuits, having bad work practices, bad managers, all this shit. There's like, all in these big companies, no matter what company it is, whether it's game entertainment related or if it's something about a product that you bought, there's someone in that company that has probably done something controversial, or the company's involved in something controversial at some point. There's no way to get rid of all the controversy in your life, okay? So you pick your battles. If you want to use something, use it, okay? If you don't, then just don't. It does not mean that you are or aren't whatever people want to call you, and that's pretty much the bottom line. on it. And that's pretty much just how I felt about it. Like I was saying that I was saying, like, when it comes to gay community, I also feel that the gay community is really good for equality in general, as in fighting for equality, right? That's the one thing that I can say that I like being part of the community for. But outside of that, I don't see it as a community. It's not like straight people have a straight community. It's not that it's not like you have a membership or subscription to be in the gay community. So just because you go against someone's opinion that's in the gay community, that doesn't mean that you don't belong, let's say, in the gay community. Like, or if there's even a community to begin with. All right. So some people think that because you're gay or bi or trans or whatever you subscribe to in your life, whatever you call yourself, whatever label, title, box you want to put yourself into, no one should tell you what to do and just think that they have a power over you because you are in the LGBTQIA community. You know, you live your life the way you want to. You haven't paid them a membership fee. You're not subscribed. There's no rule book. Like, what the fuck is the rule book to the gay community? There is no rule book to the gay community. Just like there's no rule book to the straight community. The thing that we will all follow or should follow are laws of our particular country and just have goddamn common mutual respect for each other. We can live our lives peacefully, do what the fuck we want, and still be respectful to other people, irregardless if they have the same opinions on certain matters or not. It does not make them a bad person. It does not make you better than the other person, because in this case you play a video game versus they don't play the video game, you know? So there's no rule book to being in the gay community, and you don't have to follow what everyone else does. So let's just say there's a new movement that started. Let's say there was a rally, like a big rally, a call to arms, calling all gays, bis, trans, everything out there to join us in this united stance. You can, or you don't have to. There's no one can force you to do something you don't want to do. As I said, there is no rule book. So you will have people who will do certain things that you may or may not like, or that you may or may not agree with. And that's just simple as it is. You should not be expected to act a certain way because you're part of the gay community, as an example. You are your own person. You have your own critical judgment, your own critical thinking, your critical thoughts. You as a human being have developed the ability to think for yourself. And if you want to take part in you know, certain group social activities and protests and marches, then off with you, more power to you. But that doesn't mean that you have the right to go to everyone else in the gay community and start calling them transphobes, or go to the straight people and call them transphobes, or call them other names because they've done other things when they aren't, just because they play a fucking video game. It's just needless. That's how I just saw it. It's completely needless. It was blown way over the top. And even if no one bought this game, it would not hurt. It would not hurt J.K. Rowling. It would not. Although she only gets a small amount of royalties or whatever in the game, she's not responsible for the game. She has no creative input or writing input into the game whatsoever. If anything, she's pissed off at the game because it has a trans character in it. Or you can make yourself a trans character essentially by just changing a couple of details when you create your character for the first time. If anything, she's probably pissed off at that. You know, so let her. The more you listen to someone, the more you give them power, the more you give their voice authority. If you don't listen to them, their voice has no weight and their voice has no authority. So one of the best things you can do if you're someone who gets offended by all this stuff because people are playing a fucking wizard and witches game, is to just turn off your social media for a few hours every day, or longer if needs be, and just stay out of all the shit. You will save yourself a lot of stress, a lot of heartache, headaches, and all that other stuff. You'll just feel a lot happier because you're not constantly worrying about what someone else thinks about some sort of situation. You know why? Because you're not going to see it. And if you don't see it, you don't have to worry about it. And that's not being ignorant, that's being smart. Because if you constantly play with your emotional levels up and down because you get pissed off at everything, eventually you're just going to explode. So it's best just to turn off the social medias, turn off, you know, listening to shit or seeing shit on a daily basis, and just stick to stuff that matters, that really, really, really matters. Like I said, as an example, when this game came out, just obviously it was unfortunate timing, but when this game came out, an earthquake happened in Syria and Turkey, along that the southern area of Turkey going into Syria, and I said that tens of thousands of people died, cities absolutely leveled, destroyed. You know, people's lives are absolutely fucked over there. Need international aid, all that. But what was more important than that for people online at that point, instead of them getting the proper coverage they deserved, because that's a fucking really serious event, guess where most of the coverage was going? To a fucking wizards and witches game about people online trashing each other. Where's the focus? Where is the real issue there? You know what I'm saying? People live in cloud cuckoo land on what they really think is an issue versus what isn't an issue. This game is not an issue. Not in comparison to tens of thousands of people dead, buildings destroyed, like fucking cities practically wiped out. I don't think a witches and wizards game is more important to get all the coverage, or a lot of the coverage on Twitter or whatever, compared to something like that. It's just like like that's why you need to turn off social media as much as possible. And the moment you feel like you need to reply to someone on social media because they disagree with you, that's the time when you just log out and just leave it alone, because then you save yourself that emotional stress, or just arguing with some random person online about something. No one's going to win, because you have your point, they have their point, and they are so adamant in making sure that they get their point across. It's just going to save you time and energy by not engaging it in the first place. And that's what we do on this channel, and that's what streamers have done for the last 2 weeks. Someone says something stupid, we block them, and that keyboard warrior has officially lost all their power. Because if you block the person, they cannot say anything. So therefore, they have wasted their time and energy to come onto all these different people's channels. Haha, transphobe, haha, oh my god, haha, here's the spoiler, blah, 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 copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, block, 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 block. So you can be silenced, and that's one easy way to do it. Last thing, while I'm saying it, 1 second. Last thing as well is that we also gave the example
as a trusted ally and friend.
Well, it's probably just some in-game thing. Last thing as well, while I'm on this, now I did mention at the start of this little talk that, you know, bullying people to get your point across is not the right way to do it. You can get your point, you can tell people your position without going around hating and bullying and just trying to get people whatever. I don't know, do people still try and cancel people? I have no idea if cancel culture is still a thing. It probably still is to some delusional people's minds. But you know, at the end of the day, when you start bullying people and hating and causing that, all you're going to have is you're going into people's communities to try and upset them. They'll just block you and move on. They're just going to probably, you know, you're not going to accomplish anything. Okay? So what's the point in even doing it in the first place? Lastly, I made the point that we found it very ironic on stream that when people will come in, as I said, we only had very few people come in over the last 2 weeks when I played this game to give a stupid fucking take or a stupid comment. But once again, block, move on, gone, we move on, we have fun, right? But just to explain, in the last 2 weeks, every so often, we found it very ironic that people who'd be coming in to say, you know, for example, oh, you're supporting a transphobe because you're, you know, a transphobe, J.K. Rowling, because you're playing a video game, for example. What they fail to also recognize in that is that they're getting lots of this information from Twitter, which is run by a transphobe, so using it, logging in, is giving him traffic, giving him ad revenue, etc, 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 which is just supporting an actual transphobe, right? On top of that, you're probably using a mobile phone, most likely using a mobile phone to communicate most of these messages or get most of your messages from. And inside these phones, which I'm sure we're all aware of, these are powered by certain equipment that we call batteries, right? And these batteries, the vast majority to get this battery is done through slave labor. So basically what you're trying to say to me, if you want to pick your battles, is that by using a smartphone, is that you support the blood and slave trade in Africa. That you are happy to support workers getting as little as $2 an hour to work all day in the mines to harvest the fucking batteries or the components that you need to use your phone. So when you go and pay Apple your $1,600 for your brand new iPhone, how about the $2 that worker got for, you know, harvesting a lot of these components? So you want to come and tell me that you're in a better position than me because you feel so righteous and so justified in your decisions because you're the one using Twitter just like me, you're using your phone just like me. So it's just very ironic when people come and bitch about you and try to sound so self-righteous when they're literally also in a way supporting all that other stuff as well, whether they're aware of that or not. Unfortunately, pretty much any product or anything that we are taking advantage of in our lives, unfortunately someone else has suffered to get there. A lot of our clothes potentially have come from child labor, sweatshops, or even adults getting paid very slave labor wages and stuff like that. Lots of the stuff that we enjoy in our everyday life, someone else suffers for us to get it. You know what I'm saying? So no one here can be holier than thou because we all have in a way, we all have something that we may not necessarily support, but we all still use it. So don't come onto people's streams thinking you're better than other people when you also use these things, and in a way you also are helping to support it. I don't come into your streams and think that I'm holier than thou, that I'm an authority figure and try and make you feel like shit, because well, for one, I'm not holier than thou and I definitely don't have authority on it. So there you go. So if you really feel strongly about this video game and you really want to make a difference, what I honestly would suggest to you is go out and protest, okay, at the theme parks, and go out and protest where any books are being sold. Go out and protest outside of all the corporations that have used and continue to use the Harry Potter franchise, whether that's, and even all the different gaming studios that have used a part of it, even Lego, for example. Go out to Japan, go over to Nintendo, you can even go to Sony, go over to Japan at the same time as well, take a flight over there and start protesting outside Nintendo and Sony. Go to Microsoft's offices and tell them, literally, you'll have to go around the world protesting to all these different things, and that's you know, and then you can call yourself an activist when you start doing that shit. Don't think you're an activist by being a keyboard warrior, coming onto random people's streams, trying to make them feel bad, and that's your idea of activism. Blah, 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 blah. You are transphobe. That's literally what I'm saying, okay? So I think I said enough on the topic, and I'm just pretty much summarizing what I've said over the last 2 weeks, giving my position perfectly clear on what me and most streamers, in all fairness, think of this type of situation. Or what they thought, you know, what people think was the situation. It wasn't much of a situation. It wasn't as bad as people thought it was. The controversy wasn't as crazy as it was, because at the end of the day, this game became the most popular stream, or the most popular game on streaming on the day of release for a single player game ever on Twitch. And this game has already sold over and has made more money than, for example, Elden Ring, which was one of the top selling games last year in 2022. So if anything, the only thing that the controversy did was rally people together to say fuck you to the people who tried to bully everyone else. And that's all what happened. No one got cancelled. No one lost, you know, some people probably lost a couple of followers or whatever, but if anything, everyone gained more followers than the people they lost, most likely. And now you're going to have streamers who are still afraid to play this game because they cultivated that type of behavior in their streams, in their communities. So if there's any streamer out there who's like, I really wish I could play the game, but I can't because my community, well, that's your own fucking fault. All right? Like, be the leader in your community, have a position, make your position clear, and if people don't want to watch you play it, then they don't have to watch you play it. And if people want to unfollow you because you play it, then that's their choice. But play the fucking game if you want to play the game. And if you can't or you don't, then just shut up about it and move on with your life and play a different game. There's lots of other games to play. However, me and tens of thousands of other creators out there, including my audience, we're going to play our Witches and Wizards game, and we're going to enjoy some spell crafting. There we go. So that's it. That's the big talk. On that, hopefully the last time we're going to need to say it, but I hope you can understand my position on it. I might not say it, you know, I might not have the right words all the time with how I want to say it, but I think you get the general gist of what I've been trying to say. Enjoy some spell casting and some dick. Exactly. That's what we do. We're having a great time. To be fair, just to put some some analytical evidence into this, and not just anecdotal like I've been on about, but some analytical evidence. Playing this game for the last 2 weeks has been the highest my streams have ever got with viewers. Also with ad revenue, etc. So for me at least, just playing this game because I want to play it and my community enjoying it and they just want to listen, they want to support. Thank you so much. It's been very good for me. Like we've already said, if I can go onto the other screen for a moment. We've already said that, you know, oh, where's it? Sorry, I had to turn this off for a second. Wrong one. There it is. Up here, because I know these are going to keep popping up, so I'm just going to because I can't pause them. They're going to come from earlier. But just to kind of make my point clear, this month so far, okay, and most of this has come because of Hogwarts Legacy. My follower goal is almost doubled from the follower goal that I was kind of hoping to have, and I still have another few days of streaming to go, just to prove the point on an analytical terms. And for subscribers, people just wanting to help out the channel, that's also surpassed what I thought it would get to as well. So just to show, and I'm turning off that because those unicorns are going to keep going from all the people since I changed screens. So just to kind of make that clear, That's how much this game has helped the stream essentially since I started playing this game. So if I lost a couple of followers, well, look, bon voyage. Thank you for your custom. Maybe you'll check me out again in the future. Best wishes to you. But for everyone who has stayed and continuing to join, thank you so much. But that's just to show that the number that I had up there, 900, and what was it, over 900 anyway. It just goes to show that like this game has been very popular and people want to see people play with their wands, apparently. Just so you know, I have a 14-inch, surprisingly swishy, not squishy, but surprisingly swishy wand. Wand. So if you want to see me play with my 14-incher, this is a very good stream to do so.